Okay, this is a quick tutorial for a 3-point perspective. Unlike 2-point and 1-point perspective, we're not going to have any straight lines going up and down or across. All our lines in this case go to a vanishing point. So our structures are actually shaped by the VP that is not on the horizon line. So if you look down below, we have two vanishing points and a horizon line, meaning we're going to be looking up because anything above the horizon line means we're looking up at something. So we're going to start by doing cubes. Very basic, very simple, nothing too hard. And I'm going to start with creating some guidelines. So I'll just use some green guides right now, 1 point, that's fine. And we're going to start just by establishing. So I'm going to do one cube to the left and one cube to the right. And what we need to do is we need three lines. Now I'm not going to go center. Center is the only time you're going to get a straight line going up and down. So I'm going to go slightly off to the side. And what I want to do is I simply want to create three lines going down, and that's going to be for the left side and for the right side of the cube. I also don't want to go anywhere near my vanishing point. So I'm going to I'm going to go right over here. You don't want to go directly to one of the vanishing points because that is what you're using to construct your other lines. So you want to make sure that you avoid it. I'm going to scoot over just a little bit more. And we're going to start doing our first cube right over here. So uh, just like I mentioned before, our dark lines we want to make black, and we want those to be a little bit thicker than our guidelines because that'll just help differentiate. So I'm going to make these three pretty much bigger just to make things a little bit easier. And the first thing I need to do is establish how big do I want to make this cube, and that's going to be from the center line. So I'm just going to draw that in. I'm going to go right about here. Okay, so this is our initial line that we're going to be working off for this cube. You want to make sure that you're accurate as possible, and you're just going to make sure you have one bold dark line. Again, this line you don't want it going too high. In this case, our objects are going to be floating, so you don't want it to go to the horizon line. Once I have that established, it becomes like the other 1 point, 2 point. I need to draw guidelines going from the top and bottom of this line to the vanishing points on the left and to the right. So I'm going to do that right now. I'll make these ones, let's go with this pink color so we can see it a little bit easier. And again, I'm just going to go to the top, to each vanishing point, and to the bottom and each vanishing point. And what this has now done is it's given us the left-hand side and the right-hand side of the cube. And now I'm going to draw the sides in. So I'm just going to complete the shape, and I'm just going to go to my four intersecting points. So there's one, there's two, here's my third intersection, fourth intersection, come to the bottom of the line, and then back to my starting point. And then I just want to make sure my points are accurate, because if they're a little bit off, it'll screw this up. Um, like I said, it's a lot easier for me to do this with a pencil, paper, and a ruler than it is on here. But I can color code and I can go back and forth and really do a little bit better job demoing this. So what we have now is we have the top of the cube, we have the right side, we have the left side, but we do not have the bottom. But I have my 2 points. I have one corner here and one corner there. So what I need to do is I need to create new guidelines. And again, I'm going to change up colors to make this a little bit easier. And I'm going to draw new guidelines. So this one right here is already going to the left. So what I want to do is I want to make it going to the right. And then same for the other one. This one's already going to the right. I want to make it go to the left. And now I have an intersection right over here. And that intersection is going to complete my shape. And now that I have that drawn in, I have left side, right side, bottom, and then the top you can't see, but you can see where the sides are at. So this one's done. So now I want to come over and I want to do this same thing, but to my right hand side. So I need to drop 3 more lines because I don't want the cubes touching. So I'm going to go back to this one and I'm going to drop 3 new guides. Okay, now if you want this to be the same size, you can take your ruler and figure out. I know the top point's right about there, so if I go across over, I know it's going to be right there. But you can just as easily take your ruler, put it down, and then make a point. Put your ruler down here and make a point. So I'm just going to eyeball it because this is just a brief demo. Okay, and there's going to be my main line, and I need this line. This line again is what I'm connecting top and bottom to my vanishing point. So I'm going to do this again. And what I will do is, I guess I'll keep everything like that pink. So let's do that again. So I'm going to connect to the top and to the bottom. Now, one of the reasons this is easier to do with a pencil and a ruler is I could really just line the ruler up from here to here and then just draw this one line right there. Same thing, I can line the ruler from this top point down to this vanishing point and then just draw this line. I don't need to do that for, I don't need to go all the way with a pencil, but since I'm on a computer, I really don't have a choice. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about right now. So if I was drawing this on paper, I would just line up my ruler from the top point to my vanishing point, and I would just draw that line. And same thing, I would line it up from this point to this vanishing point, and I would just draw this line. And then I could do the same thing to the bottom. Line my ruler up from this vanishing point to this corner, and then all I have to do is draw this line. And same thing over here. So what that does is it reduces the amount of guidelines that you need. And it just makes things a little bit easier on the eyes. So now that I have this, I need to complete my shape. So I need to draw in this line and this line. So I'm just going to connect these. So once those are connected, I now have my left side and right side. Now I have 2 corners, which make 2 new points that are not going to the vanishing point. So this one is going to the vanishing point to the right, but it is not going to the vanishing point to the left. So I want to make those guidelines. So I'm going to go here from this point to the left vanishing point. And I'm going to go from the right side, or left side, I'm sorry, to the right vanishing point. And where I get this intersection right here is going to be the backside. So I'm going to draw in my last shape, which will complete the cube on the right hand side. Okay, so when I do this, I now have, and let me fix this point right here. I now have a cube to the left and to the right in a 3-point perspective. So I was a little off on my line to just fix that. So let me take off the guidelines so you guys can see that clearly. So here are my 2 points. And the last thing I need to do is I need to put in a light source and create my value. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to leave the guidelines off to make this a little bit easier. I'm going to create my light source. You should always indicate a light source. It's a nice thing to reference back to when you're drawing. It makes things a little bit easier. Okay, so my light source, I'm just going to put LS for light source. And I'll just bring that up there, make it a little bit bigger for the video. And let's make that bold. Okay, so there's my light source. So that means light's coming and hitting this side, and light's coming down and hitting this side. So the right-hand sides of each cube should have the same value. So I'm going to make that my lightest value. I'm going to go a little bit darker just to make it easier to see on the screen. And I'm going to draw that in. So here is, now this is faster on the computer. This is the one aspect that much faster than doing it by hand. And again, to keep consistent value, get your pencil and have the same hand placement on the pencil for each one. So if I'm holding the pencil towards the back to shade this, I want to hold the pencil towards the back to shade that. So what I'm talking about is I just want to keep the pencil back here. Now, when I want to get to my next value, I'm just going to lower my hand down on the pencil. That's going to be my next value. And when I want my darker value, I'll just move down onto the pencil. So this is going to be my lightest side. My darkest side is going to be the side that is opposite. So I'm going to go with a dark value for that. And both of these are the bottom, and we are looking up. So if you remember, we call this worm's eye view because we are looking upwards. And then I'll go do the other side. Okay. And then the last, I need to do the left-hand side. And that is also facing away from the light source. So I want to make that dark. So I'm going to go the next one down. And I'm going to put these in. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here and do the same thing. Now, I would always recommend, even if you're just practicing, always add values. Because the values is really going to help describe that three-dimensional element that you've just drawn. And then eventually, you'll keep advancing and doing more complex things. For right now, just introducing perspective drawing, we want to keep things super simple, and then you can apply those to more difficult things. So let me bring back the guides. So this is 3-point perspective, super fast. Go through and do a couple of these exercises. Get used to drawing things in 3Ds. Get used to just drawing things as cubes. And then you'll learn how to draw other elements as you start to understand linear perspective in 3 dimensions. So that's it for the video. This is your art teacher, Mr. Aguilar, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson.